what we think of as surnames are just descriptive titles, meaning Europeans, when they named things or they designated things, it was either descriptive, locational, right, or functional. So you have names like Miller, right, because those families worked at mills. You have names like Taylor because those families made clothing. You have people who are known as fishers because when they encountered these people, they encountered them on the waters and they were fishing. So they called the people fishers. You have families named Rivers. Why? Because when they encountered these families, when they came here, they named them according to their location place, right? So you have family names like Hill, right? Family names like my family, which is Rock, right? When you start to deal with the real understanding of languages, you understand that a lot of the people who, what we assume are surnames, are really descriptive terms given to the people, right? So I could go deeper in it and start breaking it down from the language of my people, which we call our language Lenape, because the language is synonymous with the people, right? But when they steal your language and they steal your identity, what happens is you start to revert and you start to use different names, identities for yourself. One of the first names that we reverted to, right, and I'm speaking for those of us in Lenapehoking, which is all of New Jersey, the 5 boroughs, Eastern Pennsylvania, and Northern Delaware, all right? So all the people within that territory who lost their tribal identity started to refer to themselves as Moors, because Moor is a general title that references seafaring indigenous nations, right? It doesn't mean Morocco. Somebody from Morocco is not a Moor, he's a Moroccan. Somebody from Mauritania is not a Moor, he's a Mauritanian. If that concept was valid, then if Moor is short for Morocco, then the concept of a Moor would be what we call ourselves because we come from America, right? So for somebody to start talking like Moor is not a nationality, right? Moor come out of a function, it come out of an action. Mooring is steering. In order to moor a ship, you're guiding a ship, right? Moor, who was the person when Columbus sailed here, who guided his ship? Pedro the Moor. Moor is a function, just like Taylor is a function, just like Smith is a function. But the Europeans, when they encountered the original Moors, right, they were all melanated people. So through association, Moor became dark. But it's not what it means. Connotatively, it means navigator. That's what it means. But you're going to deal with people who are going to tell you Moor means this and Moor means that, and I'm telling you, they are not educated on the concept. Now, I will break it down for you. There's a tribe called the Nanticoke Lenape Moors in southern Jersey, right? For a long period of time, after they passed laws which denied us the right to carry out our culture, and our culture was simply farming and hunting. All this other stuff y'all want to talk about, it's just the show. It's regalia, right? Our culture was hunting and farming. When they outlawed that because they wanted to control our food sources, when they outlawed marijuana and hemp because it provided over 1,000 remedies in terms of foods, medicines, things of that nature. When they outlawed all that, we were forced to start dealing with them on their terms, right? Now, when they removed a lot of us to Oklahoma, the Indians that were removed then were the amalgamated Indians who were a product mainly of the Irish migration and us mixing with the Irish. So a lot of these people, that's why the Indians look the way they look. That's why they look amalgamated. They got the long stringy hair. Because a lot of the ancient European tribes were doing trade with us. Because like I said, the term Moor is not complexion. It eventually meant that, but it meant seafaring nations. So seafaring nations would be any nation who is not landlocked and is on waters, right? So certain nations wouldn't be considered Moors because they landlocked. Their whole culture is not predicated on seafaring, right? So you would include people like Vikings and people like that as Moors, right? This is why they tell you free white people in the definition, they include all different types of people. Because they're dealing with nations who navigated, who are part of ancient treaties, and I can name the 6 ancient treaties, but we could, we'll do that another time. But there were 6 ancient treaties that united all the tribal families on the planet. All these planets did trade in places like the Isle of Man, which is a small island off of Europe, off of England, pardon me. So we're dealing with